This is Paint Live TV. I'm Chris, the Idaho Painter. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a product, and it is Benjamin Moore Arborcoat. I have been getting a bunch of questions lately about what product I would use on a deck or what product I'd use on a wood-sided home. And I have been testing Benjamin Moore Arborcoat for several years now. I've used their semi-solids and solid color stains. So if you want to know if this is a product that you should use on your project or what I think about Benjamin Moore Arborcoat, stay tuned for this video. All right, so I'm going to talk about my experience with Benjamin Moore Arborcoat. Now, I've used their waterborne product, and I've used their semi-solids and their solid color stains. And I've used it on different things. I've used it on decks, and I've used it on wood-sided homes, and I've used it in different environments. I've used it in Boise, Idaho, and the Treasure Valley. And then I've also used it up in the mountains where it's a little bit different. It's colder, and there's a lot of snow during the winter time. So I've got some experiences in different environments. I've got experiences, applying it in different temperatures and so forth. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And their product that I've been using is a waterborne product. It's a waterborne modified resin product. And I really stick to water-based products because of the convenience and ease of use. They do have the same product. They have their Arborcoat and a oil-based product also that you can use. And I'll talk a little bit about where it's beneficial to use that. But when it comes to oil-based products, just the liability, the difficulty cleaning up, and then the long dry times, I kind of shy away from using the oil-based products. But once again, there is a benefit to them. I'll talk about a little bit later. I'm a water-based guy, so I use the water-based products, and I've been using and testing out Benjamin Moore's Arborcoat for quite some time now. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the branding and marketing of Benjamin Moore products, and I think the branding and marketing on labeling on their cans is absolutely amazing. And I have the confidence to set their cans, out on a job site and have a customer see it. You're going to have your paint sitting outside or inside, and I know there's some companies out there that don't do a very good job, of branding and marketing and labeling on their products. And if they're not branded and marketed well, the customer could not have confidence in the products that you're using. But Benjamin Moore products labeling is really dialed in. The Arborcoat looks absolutely amazing. It's kind of something, it's not necessarily, what's inside the can, but what's outside the can is a representation possibly of what is inside the can. And I really like their branding, marketing, and labeling. So another thing I want to talk about is designers use the products pretty widely, and designers, use the products quite a bit and recommend the products quite a bit because they are seen as very high-end products. And they are actually high-end products. They make amazing products that perform very well for professional painters and do-it-yourselfers. Designers widely use it because they are high-end products, and they also have amazing colors. Their color fan deck is absolutely amazing, and then the colors hold their colors very well inside and out. So designers widely use them. I'll talk a little bit about price. The perceived price by some might be high, but they are high-end products. And in the paint industry, and paint manufacturing and paint products, you do truly get what you pay for. If you buy paint that costs a little money, what's inside the can is going to be a representation of what you're paying for. So you get what you pay for, and it's the same as a paintbrush. If you buy a cheap paintbrush, you're going to get a cheap paintbrush that performs not very well. All right, so I'm going to talk about a little bit of the positive things that I do like about the Arborcoat, and one of them is the coverage. Of all the stains I've ever used, I don't think any stain actually covers better than Arborcoat. It's absolutely amazing. Their solid color stain is a very high solids product. It's about 38% solid, so it does cover extremely well. And I've used it from colors white, and I've used it all the way to colors black, and the black covered absolutely amazing. Was extremely impressed with the product itself. So it does cover very well, and that's one of the main things that I like about it. Another positive thing I want want to say about Arborcoat, and one of the things I do really like about it is its ability to avoid lap marks, brush strokes, or roller marks. And that's one of the things with semi-transparent stains and semi-solid stains, and even solid color stains, that it's very difficult to not get lap marks or roller marks. And you're always trying to find logical start and stop points, and you're trying to lay it out. I gotta say, of all the stains I've ever used, Arborcoat is one of the better stains when it comes to avoiding brush strokes, lap marks, or even roller marks. So that's another really positive thing that I do like. And I've used the semi-solid, and I was brushing that on a redwood deck, and it brushed out really well, and it was very easy to avoid brush strokes or lap marks. So another thing I did like about the Arborcoat, I was using a solid color stain on a redwood deck that we were sanding down, and we were getting most of the stain off. So we're down to bare wood, and when we're applying the stain, it did penetrate very well. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the things you need to do to get good penetration, because prep work is 80% of the failures when it comes to paints or stains are typically related to a lack of preparation. So you definitely want to prep the surface, or prep the surface very well. But when we were back brushing the product in, it was getting really good penetration and really good adhesion. And the adhesion quality is another thing I really like about the Arborcoat. It adheres very, very well. All right, so I'll talk a little bit about the adhesion qualities, and I noticed that the products, the semi-solids and the solid color stains, have amazing penetration and adhesion for a waterborne product. And just a simple little thing, I know this is not very scientific or anything, but how well does it adhere to your skin? Typically at the end of the day, we're gonna have some paint, stain, or whatever on our hands, and how well or how easy does it actually wash off? Now, what I've noticed of all my years painting, I've been painting now for over 25 years, that cheap, inexpensive products will wash off pretty fast and easily, and a lot of times without even soap and water. The product I was using, the semi-solid stain, and at the end of the day I had some on my hand, and it was not easy to get off. I actually had to get a nylon bristle brush to scrub it off. So if it sticks to your skin, it's not very scientific, but it would probably stick to the substrate that you're putting it on, very well also. So another thing I do like about the Arborcoat is the ease of application. So I've actually sprayed it through an airless sprayer, I've rolled it, and I've brushed it. In all three applications that I've done, it actually functions and works very, very well. When it's spraying, we typically spray and back brush. When I was spraying it with a smaller tip, like I think it was a 515 tip the last time I was spraying it, and we were back brushing it, and it sprayed back brushed very well and penetrated into the surface very well. We're doing a house with it, and then I was using it on a fence, and the penetration was excellent. It sprayed well. There wasn't a lot of overspray. A lot of times you'll get cheap products with not very high solid content, and when you're spraying them, you'll get a lot of overspray in the air, a lot of fallout on the ground. So there wasn't an excessive amount of overspray when spraying the product. So you definitely can spray it, you definitely can brush it, and you definitely can roll it. So I'll talk a little bit about the Arborcoat itself. And Arborcoat, once again, it's the product I've been using. It's a waterborne product. It's a modified acrylic resin that cleans up with soap and water. And it also has Gen X technology. And you're going to see that on the can. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, what the heck is Gen X technology? And Gen X technology is Benjamin Moore created their own colorants using the Gen X technology. And what that does is they have zero VOC products and a lot of cheap generic tints or colorants that go into paint. They'll add them in. They're not zero VOC, so now you're adding VOCs to the product. So in order to keep their products at zero VOC levels, they created Gen X technology, and these colorants do not have any VOCs in them. So there's zero VOC. And these colors also remarkably resist fading. So they hold their color extremely well. So, if you want your colors to still look true, 2 years from now, and indoors, you definitely want to use Benjamin Moore products with Gen X technology. Another thing about Gen X technology is it makes it almost impossible for other paint stores to match their colors. And I've run into that myself, where we've chosen Benjamin Moore colors, gone to a competitive paint store because the customer wanted a different product, but they chose a Benjamin Moore color, and the paint store could not match the color exact. So you're running a real big risk of choosing Benjamin Moore colors and having it mixed into other products. So if you choose a Benjamin Moore color, or you're using a Benjamin Moore fan deck, I would highly recommend sticking with Benjamin Moore products due to that Gen X technology. So another key element about Arborcoat is Arborcoat. We use it on wood-sided homes. We've used it on log homes and a lot of different wood substrates, but it also can be used on a deck. And so what's the difference between a solid color stain that's going to go on siding and a product that is going to go on a deck? And one of the main things is scuff resistance, or the ability to have something sitting on it over a long period of time and not sticking or tacking to the product. Scuff resistance is important because you got people walking on it, scuffing their feet. You got furniture possibly sliding on it. So you definitely want a product designed for decks, and Arborcoat can go on decks, and so it's horizontal and vertical surfaces. I know there's some paint stores, I've used products that can only go on wood-sided homes, and they're a little bit cheaper than what can go on a deck, but then you're having to deal with two different products, and it's nice just to have one product that will go on different surfaces, vertical, horizontal, decks, sided homes, or log homes, etc. So I've had a lot of experience doing, decks here in the Treasure Valley, Boise, Idaho area, and I've had a lot of experience doing decks up in the mountains that get snow loads. And one thing I'll just talk about is water-based products that are going to get a snow load. Now, Benjamin Moore products they adhere very well, and they penetrate very well for a waterborne product. But if you're up in the mountains, this is where I spoke about it a little bit earlier, oil-based products. I'm not necessarily a big fan of oil-based products because of some of the reasons I discussed, but this is where I'd highly recommend using an oil-based product, is up in the mountains where you're going to have standing water, or you're going to have standing snow that's going to be sitting on a deck for long periods of time. So what I've noticed is any waterborne products over time, if they've got a snow load on them, which up in the McCall area, Donley area, Tamarack, that snow sitting on those decks, it could be 4 months, 5 months that it's actually sitting on there on a deck. So that's a long time for moisture, ice, water to be sitting on a surface. And oil-based products, they do, like Arborcoat oil-based products, they're going to penetrate deeper into the wood. They're actually going to add something to the wood, the oil to the wood, but they protect from the inside out. So you're going to get better penetration, better adhesion with an oil-based product. But there's, once again, the drawbacks, the cleanup. You're going to have to clean up with mineral spirits. There's some environmental regulations with disposing of, the products, the rags and stuff. And another thing I wanted to talk about is oil-based products, dry time. And this is a very key element when it comes to doing decks or siding with an oil-based product. So another thing I do really like about the Arborcoat, the water-based product, is the dry time. So the dry time to the touch is about a half hour, and it does dry extremely fast. So you can, it's not recommended, but you can walk on it pretty quick. But if you got to get somewhere across the deck or anything, you can take your shoes off, walk on it with socks. And I've noticed we can walk on them, 1 to 2 hours. You can walk to get places as long as you walk softly, in socks or stuff. It's the dry time to the touch is a half hour. It's about 4 hours to recoat. And unlike oil-based products, and another one of the things, kind of the drawbacks on oil-based product is extremely long dry time. So they do penetrate a lot deeper and give some better penetration and adhesion, but then they do have long dry times. And if you don't get any excess wiped up, it can stay tacky. I've even seen oil-based products stay tacky for up to several weeks. And so that can end up becoming a big problem because you can get footprints, dust can collect on it and stuff. So even on sided homes, log-sided homes, you can start getting dust piling up on tops of logs and stuff like that, and it's going to stick to the oil-based products. So one of the things I really like about water-based products is the fast dry times. So penetration is also, extremely important when it comes to, having success with any type of waterborne product or even oil-based product. And so sanding, getting, if you can get all the previous coating off, you want to get it off. But something you want to keep in mind when it comes to using Benjamin Moore's products that are Arborcoat, that if you're putting it on new wood typically has what we call a mill glaze on it, and that's when the wood is sawed. It's what happens is that sawing process causes basically the wood to be waterproof, and so you need to break that mill glaze down, and so that you can get better penetration of your product. So you want to do some type of sanding to break your mill glaze and get good penetration and get good adhesion. And that's just a tip that we've noticed when it comes to using water-based products and putting them on new wood surfaces. All right, so I'm going to go over some of the key things why I really like Arborcoat from Benjamin Moore and why I do highly recommend it. It is the best solid color and solid color stain that I've ever used. So it does hang very well. So when I'm talking about that, when you're spraying it, brushing it, rolling it, it doesn't drip or sag. It hangs amazing. So that's a key thing when it comes to using these products. It covers amazing. I think I've said it before, but it covers better than any solid color or semi-solid color stain I've ever used. It dries extremely fast, which is important if you got overlapping colors or if you're working with a deck that you need to get on, right away. It dries fast. The penetration is absolutely amazing. It penetrates very deep for a water-based product, better than any product I've ever used before. The adhesion is better than any waterborne product that I've ever used also. So it penetrates and adheres very, very well. It's low overspray, so when you're spraying it, you don't have a lot of fallout or overspray that's going to get on plants or that's going to drift in windy conditions and get on other people's houses, cars, etc., stuff like that. You can be confident spraying it. It brushes and rolls very effectively without lap marks. And so that's pretty important. And another thing, when it comes to that same thing, it touches up very well. So if you have a light spot that you miss somewhere in a deck or on the side of a house, what I've noticed is you can touch it up and you're not going to see those touch up spots. So that's pretty important also. It doesn't stay tacky. So oil-based products, if you don't get all the excess off that hasn't penetrated into the surface, they will stay tacky for long periods of time. And on a deck, that could be really bad. On the siding of a house, it could collect dust and dirt. If it gets windy at all before it actually dries 100% and blows dust around. So that's important. It doesn't stay tacky. It adheres very well. And this is something, another key point. A lot of projects you're going to be doing are already painted or already stained, previously, and you don't have to sand and you don't have to strip all the way down to the bare wood. It's self-priming and it's going to stick and adhere to just about any other coating out there, whether it be a paint or a stain. It is low odor, and that's very nice to work around brushing and rolling or even spraying it, and it doesn't have a strong odor. So it's very low odor and a pleasant odor. And one last thing, it is a zero VOC. So the product and the colorants that go into it, it's a zero VOC product. So those are some of the key reasons why I do highly recommend using Arborcoat semi-solid or solid color stains. So one of the things that issues we did run into when it comes to doing decks and using a water-based product and even using Arborcoat is the fast dry times. They are beneficial to some extent, but then they can be a drawback because they can be drying extremely fast, penetrating and coagulating really fast and leaving brush strokes. So it is recommended to always work, not in the sun, and work when it's cool. So you want to work typically first thing in the morning, or you can work late in the evening, but then the surface has probably been heated up and it hasn't cooled off enough. So it's really ideal to work, first thing in the morning, and that way you do have more working time with your product. So that sometimes the dry time is a benefit, but then it can be a negative thing, especially if you're forced to work in the heat and work in the sun. All right, so I want to talk about a little bit about tan and bleed now, and using light colors when it comes to the Arborcoat. So this is not necessarily a negative thing, because this is with any paints or stains, solid color stains, semi-solid color stains. If you're staining, because we do stain redwood, we stain cedar, those types of wood species have a lot of tannins in them, so you can get tan and bleed. And we were using white one time. We're testing out the white, and their products are self-priming, and which is another positive, self-priming products on most substrates. And but if there's tannins coming through, it's not going to stop tannin bleed. So you can't put on coat after coat, and your first coat's not going to stop the tannin bleed. If you put another coat on, it's going to continue to bleed through. So you do need to use the proper primers. So you definitely want to check their TDS, their technical data sheet, and it's going to recommend what primer that you're going to need to use when it comes to stopping tannin bleed. All right, so you might be wondering where the heck you can use Arborcoat, their water-based products, the solid color stains, and there's semi-solid color stains, or even there's semi-transparent stains. You can use it on fences, you can use it on decks, you can use it on siding, you can use it on furniture, you could put it on pressure-treated wood or even engineered wood. So there's a lot of different surfaces, a lot of different wood things you can use. There's a lot of decks out there now that are made with these composite wood decking products, and you can use their products on those composite decks also. So there's a lot of different places you can use it, which makes it a very versatile product. And once again, it is self-priming on a lot of different substrates. So one of the places I have used the Arborcoat is on wood-sided homes. And a lot of wood-sided homes up here that are not up in the mountains do have metal gutters and metal downspouts. And one of the great things about their product is to keep the consistency, and having a wood-sided home still look natural and have that wood look. You can paint the gutters with the Arborcoat also, because it is self-priming to the metal. And that way your gutters and your downspouts match the siding of the house, so it still looks all natural. So you don't have these real shiny gutters and real shiny downspouts that don't match really that overall wood-sided theme. So once Arborcoat is applied, you do have a waterproof, mildew-resistant coating. So that's another benefit to the product. You do have mildewcides in the product that are going to resist mildew. So if you're concerned, or you have a wood-sided home or anything that's getting a lot of moisture, a lot of water damage, or anything where mold or mildew is growing, Arborcoat's going to be a good product to help alleviate those issues with mold or mildew growing on the coating. All right, so I do want to talk a little bit about why I use solid color stains on wood-sided homes and wood in general. And I've had a lot of people ask me, do I paint wood, or do I use a stain, or what do I even use on, say, like brick or concrete? Now, typically when you're taking a wood-sided home, and we'll just talk about this scenario, wood-sided home, you can take and put an oil-based primer on it, and then put a paint over the top of that, and you're creating a film over the top of that wood. And the film over the top of the wood basically is eliminating a lot of the characteristics of the wood. And so you're starting to take away some of the beauty and the natural look of the wood. A stain, on the other hand, stains actually absorb into the wood and keep a lot of the characteristics of the wood. You're going to still see a lot of the wood grain, and semi-transparents and semi-solids. You're going to see a lot of the color variations of the wood still coming through. So stains don't create films on the top of the wood and eliminate the wood profile unless not applied properly. So a stain, typically you're not going to be putting multiple coats on. A solid color stain is going to take one coat, and the only time you would put another coat on is if you're using a solid color and it still wasn't 100% opaque. The whole color, you're still seeing the color variations of wood coming through, because a solid color stain should be opaque. And one of the great things about Arborcoat is, from my experience, even colors like black that have an extreme amount of tint in them or colorants in them, they do cover in one coat. And that's a benefit, because if you have to start adding multiple coats on there, it's going to start acting like a paint, and it also could peel like a paint also. A stain's going to absorb in, it's not going to have a film that will actually peel. So cheaper products that don't cover as well, that don't have as high as solids like Arborcoat does, are going to require more coats, and you're going to just run into problems down the road with it. So how much does, Arborcoat, semi-solid and solid color stain, cost? I mean, if you look it up online, I think I've looked it up online, and, you could pay $59 a gallon for it. My cost, I went down just to my local paint store. I think it's Boise Paint and Glass, who sells Benjamin Moore products. I think, my cost, I think I paid around $44 for the solid color, and I think I paid around $39 for the semi-solid. So, for both of them, you're looking at a range anywhere from $39 to $59 a gallon. I'm going to just read some of the key points off the technical data sheet. And this is something, if you've never pulled up a technical data sheet on a product, you should never be applying products, without understanding the technical data sheet. It's going to give you, some information, some features, general descriptions, some limitations of the product, and then it gives you a lot of technical data on the product. And it's very important to understand that. And this is where you'll find out whether products are good products or bad products. And this is where you'll find out just some key information about the products you may be wondering about. And the technical data, it states vehicle type. This is 100% acrylic latex product. This is the semi-solid data sheet. It's a 36% solids, of the product, and that's really high. If you want to know how much it covers, it tells you right here it covers 300 to 400 square feet. It tells you dry times, half hour to the touch, 4 hours to top coat. It gives you some, what to clean up with. It says clean water is what you can thin it with or clean up with. So there's a lot of information in the technical data sheet. It tells you temperatures. So it says do not apply below 40 degrees and above 90 degrees. So it gives you some temperature application recommendations. It even tells you if you want a low luster look, you can actually apply a thin coat of Arborcoat waterborne protective clear coat that'll give it a low luster look. It does say in the technical data sheet that it can be put on pressure treated lumber. It's ideal for soft woods like cedar and pine. It's formulated to protect and beautify wood and decking and even furniture. And it says it's a water repellent coating. So there's a lot of information. Technical data sheets are something that you should always pull up and know and have a good understanding of the products that you're using. Now, is Benjamin Moore a product that I would recommend? I've used it over several years. I've used it on different applications and stuff, and we'll let you know what my opinion is right now. All right, so now for the verdict. Is this a product that I would recommend, and where would I recommend it? So we have our ladder here, and our top rung of our ladder is for the highest recommendation of products, and then we have the rungs down below that's are for lower recommendations. Obviously, we can't put things on the top because OSHA would not be very happy if we're using the top rung, because you're not supposed to stand on the top rung, but this is the highest rung right there. And Arborcoat is a product that I've used. I've been extremely happy with. I don't have much to say negative about it. The dry time's a little bit fast sometimes, because you got to work in the sun, got to work in the heat in the Treasure Valley. It's not that great when it comes to using it up in the mountains. Anytime you got a snow load, standing water for long periods of time, I highly recommend using their oil-based product and not the water-based product. But I went over a lot of great stuff about this product, and I would, if you're going to use a solid color stain on the siding of a house, or you're going to use a stain on a decking, I would highly recommend Arborcoat. I'm going to put it all the way on the top rung of our ladder there because I like it so much. Their solid color stain is my favorite solid color stain. It's the one that I would prefer using on anything vertical. And their decking product, I tested out their semi-solid decking product, and I really like the semi-solid decking product, and I'm going to stick that the semi-solid decking product right up top also. So Benjamin Moore products are typically, high-end products. They're not inexpensive products, but they are premium products. And if you have long warranties, I have a 5-year warranty, and I need to use products that I can trust that are going to perform. And Benjamin Moore products across the board that I've used perform extremely well, give me the confidence that I'm not going to be getting callbacks. So there you have it. There's Benjamin Moore Arborcoat Semi-Solid and Solid Color Waterborne Stain. And it's definitely a product that I would recommend if you're doing any type of wood staining, deck or siding, to use the product. And if you've ever used it, you've got any recommendations, or if you want to tell us what your experience is, just leave it down in the comment section below. If you got questions, ask them down below. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I come out with more review videos, product reviews. If you want to see them, you have to hit the notification bell along with the subscribe button, or nothing actually happens. And all that actually does is it just sends you an email every time I come out with a new video. It's very simple, easy to do, 2 clicks of a button. Nobody's ever going to market to you, try to sell you anything. It's just a way to help support our channel. And like we always say, we'll see you next time. Out.